I'm sure you're aware that quite recently there was a video of a bus driver who was suffering from the intense heat in his cab because it wasn't air conditioned, and in fact he had to stop and a member of public poured water over him to help him out.
OK, we finally get to Assembly Member Prince and his question on freedom of speech.
Thank you, Chair. Freedom of speech is the cornerstone of our democracy, as is freedom of choice. For example, everyone should be free to change their political loyalties when the opportunity presents itself. Like any of our hard-won freedoms, freedom of speech should never be taken for granted. As politicians and as citizens, we must guard the right to speak freely. We must do so for everyone in society, regardless of their faith, ethnicity, gender, background, sexuality or political orientation. It is fundamental that in a healthy democracy we're able to have open, robust debates. However, what is clearly not appropriate is for anyone to use language that's intended to promote hatred and division. No right of freedom can justify hatred and inciting violence, and there's no place for that in London. Freedom of speech is necessary for our democracy, as is respect for the rule of law. If the member wants an example of where I stand on free speech, he should find a picture of the giant inflatable version of me in a yellow bikini that flew above Parliament in my first term.
Still losing sleep over
I can't say it's a lovely thing to look at. Yellow isn't really my colour, but I didn't think twice about giving protesters the right to fly it. My message to Londoners that day was clear. Whether I disagree with you or not, I'll always defend your right to protest and to speak your mind. Worryingly, there are some countries around the world who have a rich history of free speech, like the USA, where it looks like freedom of speech is being eroded. As is often the case, politicians and pundits who claim to be champions of free speech talk a good game. Their actions, however, tell a different story. And I'll remind the member that freedom of speech in this country is primarily protected by Article 10 of the European Convention of Human Rights, incorporated in the UK law by the Human Rights Act of 1998, a treaty that both of his political parties have vowed to leave.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. I was actually in Salisbury at the weekend. I think you'll find it's in the Magna Carta as well. Thank you for that answer, and it's very refreshing. But I'm sure you're aware that quite recently there was a video of a bus driver who was suffering from the intense heat in his cab because it wasn't air conditioned, and in fact he had to stop and a member of public poured water over him to help him out. Later on, obviously, he spoke out about this and he was dismissed. Do you think that's right?
Freedom of speech is a fundamental pillar of any democratic society and must be protected for everyone, regardless of background or political belief. While open and robust debate is essential, it cannot be used as a shield for hatred, intimidation, or the silencing of workers who speak out about unsafe conditions. Recent reports of a bus driver suffering extreme heat in an unair-conditioned cab, later dismissed after raising concerns, are deeply troubling. No worker should be forced to endure unsafe conditions, nor punished for speaking publicly about them. Protecting freedom of expression also means safeguarding the rights of employees to raise legitimate concerns without fear of retaliation. Respect for free speech must go hand in hand with respect for dignity, workplace safety, and the rule of law.